I'd like to get to Jay. Jay, we got to go fast. You're watching on Facebook and you're from Baltimore, and I appreciate your calling in. I didn't want you sitting there and falling off the edge of the earth. So we got to go fast, but I wanted to get you on there. How can I help
Okay, perfect. Hi, Dr. Cloud. Thank you for taking my call. So I sent you a DM, so I'm very fortunate to speak to you. I appreciate it once again.
you? You sent me a
About 10
DM.
years,
Where'd you do
I
that?
sure did on Instagram. And I
Oh,
happened to go to my Facebook page and I saw that you were on the air. So I called in.
oh,
So my
okay,
question is,
great.
my parents died about 10 years ago. Since then, I seem to be moving along life pretty well. During the health crisis, I lost my job and
Hmm.
everything seems to be spiraling out of control. So my family says there's some spiritual oppression that's causing me to feel stuck because I keep going back to my parents dying and I haven't accomplished any of the goals that I started before they died. So I wanted to
Hmm.
find out if there is a relationship between spiritual oppression and being stuck because I don't think my spirituality has changed much, but that's my opinion.
I'm gonna give you a principle here.
Okay.
Um, Sometimes, if let's say I walk into my house and it's full of smoke, um, and I remember right before I walked out, I had some bacon cooking on the on the stove. I'm trying to think of something obvious here, and I go, "Oh, that would do it." And I walk over there, and I go, "Yep, that's probably what did it." And I, because I can see it, and I take it off, and then open up the windows, and the smoke clears. Okay. Other times, you might walk into a house and you go, "Well, I was cooking something." You walk in there and check that out. No, that's still not on there. The smoke's still there. Now I got to look further. Okay, you follow me?
Yes.
If your parents died, I mean, that's a major, 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 major loss. Okay. And it's not unusual at all if somebody's loses both of their parents. It's not unusual at all for sometimes that grief to not get worked through and that kind of have people stuck because they haven't moved past that moment of trauma. And that, in other words, the reason I gave the example about where's the smoke probably coming from, but I would look for if there's a timing of your being stuck since the time you lost your parents, that's where I would look first before I went into other worlds about why would they call it spiritual oppression when there might be a very obvious reason here. You lost your parents and some things that they were mean to you, the things that they meant to you symbolically, or ways that your life was connected with them, or things that you got from them, or survivor's guilt. I mean, there could be so many reasons that a grief process could hold you up like this. That's the first place I would look before I started calling it spiritual oppression. And then I want to know, what do they mean by that anyway? So does that make
Well,
sense to you?
it does make sense. And I think what they're meaning is it is some spiritual warfare that is causing me to be stuck.
But
And
based on what though? Like, are do
based
you
on I was seemingly doing well and now I'm not doing well, I guess.
well, but you said for 10 years, right? You're seemingly doing
Yes,
well. You lost your
10 years
job,
ago.
but yeah, you lost your job because of COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs because of COVID. That's a real, real bad thing that's happened in the world that we can point directly to. That doesn't mean you're
Right.
under spiritual attack. I mean,
I can't
I
seem to get
I
myself
believe in
moving
right,
is
and that's
what the
why
problem is.
that's
Hmm.
exactly. I mean, if you're pointing it back to the loss, I would go sit down and process the loss of your parents with someone. That's the first place I would look. That's my point that I'm making.
Okay.
Find out, how did your life change? What did it mean to you? What what unresolved grief is it? What, I don't know. I'm just, when you see a precipitating factor, then you always have to
Hmm.
ask kind of, what does that have to do with it? Now, when you come to spiritual attack, what are what are they? Is there any reason for you to believe that? Generally speaking, when you're looking at these areas like this, generally it's because somebody has opened them up to some sort of dark spiritual forces in their lives, that they have a history of witchcraft, for example, or dealing with, other spiritual realities that they think are really harmless, but they're not, or other things that would open themselves, opening themselves up through deep patterns of destructive behavior. All of those things, there's a lot of spiritual components to that. But that's, you said that you're not really doing that, or you haven't. So why would they
No.
suspect it? That's what I'm saying. Why would they suspect it?
Hence my question of why I don't really understand. One thing I can say to you, I was in pre-med before my parents died. After my
Mm,
parents died, I didn't go back to school. I just kept going to the
mm,
work world, and my job that I was laid off from, I was an internal auditor. So in the back of my mind, the first thing that I thought of, well, if I had finished pre-med, went to medical school, I wouldn't be looking for a job right now.
right. But
And
sometimes
I
things
just,
happen in sometimes things happen in
right,
life that alter our course, and we could always say, well, if I'd kept going this way or this hadn't happened and stuff like that. So I totally
right,
understand that. Now what you might want to
yeah,
do is go back and unpack that and say, why did I
okay.
do that? And are those reasons still valid today? And is that something I still want to pursue? And what might be some ways that I could go pursue that? But I wouldn't
Well,
jump
I'm
to
not
the
able to
conclusion.
now. I think, Dr. Cloud, now I'm past admission to getting into a medical school. And I think my family was concerned because they haven't seen me not doing something. I have no idea where to start. I don't know how to fix this, how to pick it up. And I think that that's
Well,
where they got
yeah, well,
the
that's a
idea
different,
from.
well, but still, that's kind of like me saying, I've got, my ankle is hurting. I must have cancer. Where's the evidence for the cancer? You follow me?
I
I
do
don't know where
follow you.
they're, I don't know why are they coming up with that diagnosis as opposed to 5,000 others? I just like, sometimes when people, all they have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So if that's their answer to
Right,
all of life's problems, and there are people that
right.
have that view, and it's not a biblical view at all. The Bible
Okay,
says we have problems because the world, the flesh, and the devil, right? And so sometimes
right.
we live in a broken world and bad crap happens to us. It happened to you. Sometimes it's our own making, because of choices that and sometimes there are spiritual forces at work. So I'm diagnostically, I would want to ask, why do they think that? Give me a reason why they think that. And if you want to take care of
Okay,
it, just pray your way through it and have somebody pray for you. And that's all they're going to tell you to do anyway, and that can be very helpful. So I got to run. I want you to go back though,
okay,
and I want you to get in a process of dreaming again and say, what do I want with my life? What do I, if I don't like my auditing job or that pathway or that career that you lost,
right.
and I don't want to go
Hmm.
back, what do I want to do? And I'd like to see you use this stuck place as a time to unwrap your vision. I'm going to gift you. I did a thing on reaching goals and dreams back in earlier in the year. I'm going to get you a copy of that, and we'll let Albie talk to you and send you that, and that might help you begin to get down a different path.